Chicago. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show, Renee.
Hi, thank you. Well, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, going to Chicago. Dave, my question is, how do I let my mother and father that are 89 and 91, how do they retire financially secure? My dear sister stole $1 million to $1.5 million from them. Over the last 20 to 30 years. My brother-in-law scammed my parents. My sister was there to take money every week. My two brothers and I found out about this about 2 years ago. We knew my father was giving my sister money, but not totally wiping him out.
Okay, so technically speaking, she didn't steal it. They gave it to her.
Basically, Dad gave her quite a bit. However, she opened 29 charge cards, 10 years ago, 0% interest, maxed each one out.
In her name or his name?
In my mother's name, and in his name without his knowledge, and in my mother's name without her knowledge.
Okay, that's identity theft, and yes, that is theft, and yes, you go to jail for that. That's a federal crime. How long ago did she do that?
She's been doing this for about 20 years.
Is it stopped?
I'm sorry?
Has she done it recently?
Oh, up until 2 years ago, until we caught her.
Okay, so you've stopped it now.
We've totally stopped it.
Yeah. Is she going to jail?
But in the meantime,
is she going to jail?
Well, I had elder abuse, Georgia elder abuse come out. The next day they called the sheriff. The sheriff said, let's put her in jail. My dad, who does have a little bit of dementia, said, no way. My mother, who knew nothing about this, all of a sudden said, I can't put my daughter in jail. Now, 2 years later, after my mother knows what extent that have left her broke, she said, let's put her in jail.
Probably too late now. Yeah.
It's too late, yeah. My brother-in-law is a scammer, got my dad hooked up into a scammer, gave him...
Okay, I got all that, but the bottom line is the money's gone, and nobody was willing to prosecute while you could, so now we just have two broke old people that gave their money away.
Yes. Now, they make a good salary. They make about $55,000 a year, and then they have assets that are about $65,000.
Okay. $65,000 worth of assets?
No, just income coming in.
Oh, I see. What assets do they have?
None. She took them all.
Okay, so what's creating the $65,000?
Pension, annuities. My dad.
Okay, an annuity is an asset. How much is in the annuity?
Oh, it's through the state. I don't know that.
Okay, so they don't own anything now.
No, it gets better. They had a home equity loan, and she went through $300,000 of that.
I'm done with her. Okay, I'm done with her. She's gone. They didn't prosecute her. Let's move on. Okay. All I want to talk about is them. How much money do they have now?
Cash?
Yeah.
None.
Okay. Do they own any real estate?
Yes.
Okay. How much?
They own a home worth about $300,000.
Good. Is it paid for?
No, because she.
What is owed on it?
There is only. I have paid off quite a bit. There was $125,000 HELOCs on it, home equity loans. I have paid all of them. Well, we have all together, my brothers and I, paid most of them off, and it's about $64,000 left.
Okay, good. And do they have? And they have no cash. And they have $65,000 coming in pensions and $55,000 from something else. So they have $110,000 a year coming in.
No. $65,000 total.
Total coming in. Okay.
Correct.
So they have a $65,000 income, and they have a $65,000 mortgage on a $300,000 house, and that's their total financial picture.
Correct.
Okay. Can they live on $65,000?
Well,
sure.
Dad has dementia.
Sure. They can live on $65,000.
They need help.
They can live on $65,000.
Okay.
I mean, he may end up in a nursing home, and you all may be funding some of that, or you may have to pay for some in-home care to come care for him, or you may sell the house and move them in with one of you all. but they can definitely make it on 65,000. And it's just a horrid shame that your sisters and her husband are crook, and that no one was willing to put them in where they belong, in jail. But that's just gone. That's water under the bridge now. You can't live in that anger because no one was willing to do anything about it at the time. The people that were necessary to sign the arrest warrants were not willing to sign the arrest warrants. And I understand that. I mean, it's heartbreaking for your own kid to be a crook. I get that. Or your own sister to be a crook. I get that. But that's all in the past now. We're down to pretty simply 2 old people, one with dementia, that make $65,000 a year income, and they have a $65,000 mortgage on a $300,000 house. That's it. And so you've either got to downsize them in house and get rid of the mortgage, and then they can afford to bring in help in that situation to take care of him. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Hi, Alan. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Okay. So I'm a senior in college right now. We'll be graduating in a couple months. And I guess just since I've started watching your show a lot, I've been looking into budgeting and, looking at my finances and stuff and how I'm going to pay off the student loans that I've taken out while I've been in college. And while doing that, I found out that my mom has been in charge of all my finances, and I found out that she's been taking a lot of the money that we've been taking out for loans for, her own expenses and not stuff that's been related to me at all. So I guess I just want to know if you had any advice for me, how I can kind of go about this, figuring out how I can pay this back, and also how I can deal with the situation and not totally ruin my relationship with my mother.
Wow. So how much of your money has she stolen?
I estimate about $10,000 to $12,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how much is your total student loan debt?
25.
Okay. And so the way you grew up in this dysfunctional household, if you were to sit down with her and say, hey, why'd you steal $12,000 of my money? What would she say?
Right. No, my mom has been really good, overall. It's been really weird lately.
Except for the part where she stole $12,000 from you, but okay.
Right, yeah. When I do try to talk to her, she gets emotional. No, she's really been struggling with money lately, and I understand that. But just the thing is, she hasn't, we haven't had this conversation that, she's using money through my student loans or anything like that. So that's where the major issue is.
Okay. Have you taken all of your financial control away from her?
I have not yet, no.
Okay. Well, that's the first thing you have to do is stop the bleeding. You need to shut down any account that has her name on it or has access to her in any way, and you need to open your own accounts, sir, and be a full-on grown-up and handle your own money at this point. You don't have a choice.
Right. Yeah.
And so, you got to limit her access to your stuff because she's not trustworthy. I'm so sorry. This is so heartbreaking for you, and it puts you in such a extremely emotional position when somebody violates your boundaries like this.
Right, yeah.
This is financial child abuse, is what it is. Okay, it happens more often than it should. I run into scumballs who open credit cards in their kids' names and trash their kids' credit, steal their own children's identity, in other words, because they somehow feel entitled to steal someone else's money. And you've got to get pretty twisted in the brain to be able to do that. It's as if you had a shoebox of $25,000 sitting on your bed with your name on it, and it was your money, and she reached in there and took half of it, but she doesn't see it that way. Somehow in her brain, she's figured out that this is okay. It ain't okay. So, the only thing, one extreme is to press criminal charges. The other extreme is just forget it and pay it.
Yeah.
In between would be her promising to repay, but she's out of control. That's a promise that won't be kept.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably are left with two pretty extreme options, and one is to just say, I got $25,000 in student loan debt, and I'm coming out of college, I'm a senior, and I'm going to go pay it off. Or you can look at prosecuting her. The problem with prosecuting someone criminally is the money's already gone, and it doesn't make them have the money to give you money back. The money's just gone. It's just gone. And you're going to have a real hard time legally getting the student loans removed from your name due to theft. That's a very difficult legal set of hoops. Probably cost you more than $12,000 to do it.
Yeah.
In legal fees. So I'm thinking you're eating this, but except to the extent that you can get something out of it for her, out of her. So I don't know, man. I'm sorry. My brain can't wrap around somebody doing this to their own freaking kid. But so I'm trying to help you here and not just choke her.
I mean, she has like admitted that she's done wrong and she owes me money. It's just like I'll ask for it or I'll like want to talk about it, and she just says she doesn't have the money, doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down with her really calmly but very clearly and say, number one, if you ever use my name in any way to put money in your pocket again, I will criminally prosecute you. You need to tell her that because she needs to stop, because she'll steal your ID too and open up credit cards. Yeah. I mean, because she's desperate and she's a little crazy. I mean, people don't steal from their own kids who ain't crazy, man. I mean, really. Think about it. So, she's probably got good attributes, all than that. I know I'm talking about your mother, but I mean, you need to look at this realistically. So the first part of the conversation is, never again, Mom. The second part of the conversation is, I'm going to forgive this. I'm going to pay the debt. I'm going to forget about it. You pay me back if you can, but the only way I'm going to do that is you get control of your life, and you're going through Financial Peace University. And I will pay for it, and I will give it to you so you can give it to her. Because she needs to learn how to handle money so she doesn't keep stealing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where her theft is going to end if we don't. It's because she's going to end up in jail.
Right.
Because if you do this with a bank, they prosecute you. If you do this if you do this with check kiting, they prosecute you. This is not a game. I mean, this is not a family affair. This is criminal activity. So for her sake, we got to get her under control because she's completely spiraling here. If you can, and then I think realistically, you say, Mom, you pay me back all this money, and just leave it on her to do that. But then you have a low emotional expectation that that's going to occur because practically thinking, I don't think you're ever going to see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is your degree field that you're studying?
Marketing.
Good for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And you graduated in May?
I have a job set up. I have a job set up for when I graduate. I'm going to start working right away.
Making what?
Making pretty good money, so.
Making what? Making how much?
$48,000.
How much?
$48,000.
$48,000. Good. You have any other debt other than this $25,000? Leslie is in Boston. Hi, Leslie. How are you?
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Have you got your tickets to Smart Conference next weekend?
I do. I'll see you.
Awesome.
I'll see you soon.
Looking forward to being up there with you guys. How can I help today?
All right, Dave. So I am a baby step follower. I love your system. It worked for me. I'm debt-free now.
Good.
And so I'm just spreading the message. I want to change the family tree. So I've been trying to inspire my younger brothers and younger cousins. And as I'm talking about finances with them more, I discovered that my aunt is, as you would say, financially abusing my cousin. She's taking out cards, credit cards, debit cards, and making out checks in her name because her credit is so bad that she can no longer do that on her own. And this, it makes me so sad, and I don't know what to do because it's someone older than me. It's my aunt, it's my mom's sister, but it's my younger cousin, and I feel like I have an obligation to her.
How old is your younger cousin?
She's 16 years old in high school.
Okay. All right. So, and this is your aunt's child?
Yes.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
Yes. And she's in a single parent home.
Are there any? Does your parents? Is your parent that is her brother or sister still around?
My parents, both of my parents are still around. It's my mother's sister.
Okay. So What would your mother say if she found out that your aunt was abusing her kid?
So I talked to her about it. I felt like it was the right thing to do. This is really uncomfortable, but she said, we have to get her to close the accounts because I just found out that she has, I think, $2,000 just in fees, and the card only has like a few months on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, I mean, your mother is the one who needs to confront her, not you.
Okay, so you think she...
It's her sister. It's her sister.
Yeah.
She's got to say, this is ridiculous. You're messing up your own kid. What's wrong with you?
Okay, so I shouldn't take this on my own. What about my cousin? I mean, should I talk to her?
Yeah. Is this your other cousin has an older sibling?
No, she's a lonely child.
Oh, so it's a different cousin, a different parent.
A single-family home. Her father's not around.
Yeah, but they have one kid. The aunt that's screwing over her own kid has one kid.
Has one. Yeah, that's her only child.
Okay, so does your mother and her sister have any other siblings?
Yeah, but they're not really close. They don't live in the state.
Okay. Well, your mom and your dad need to go over there and sit down with your mom's sister and say, quit abusing your own child. If you want to go with them, you can. But your aunt is much more prone to listen to her sister than to you.
She doesn't. I would hope so, but she doesn't with other financial things. I mean,
yeah. Well, here's the thing: if you don't stop this, you're going to jail because we're going to take you to the cops.
So her other sister actually told her that one time.
Yeah.
And she's still doing it.
Well, then take her to the cops. If she was beating the crap out of the kid, would you just stand there and watch her do it? No.
Of course not, no.
No, and that's what she's doing. She's destroying a 16-year-old. Somebody's got to care enough to stand in the gap here. And this is not okay. This is not a lightweight thing. She's screwing up a kid's life. So, yeah, you guys got to bust on her, and if she doesn't stop, you need to say, listen, if you don't stop, we're going to have you put in jail. And if she doesn't stop, have her put in jail. I'll get her attention, give her some dadgum bracelets that connect. She's screwing her own kid. This is unbelievable. You guys ought to be irate. You ought to be busting her chops. This is ridiculous. Yeah, you guys this is not difficult, but she's abusing her child. I don't care if it's difficult. You guys, you and your mom and your dad need to be over there like this week saying, here's a plan for you. Do not pass go. Go directly to jail or close these accounts and never do this again. If I ever see you ever so much as think about opening an account in anyone's name that is not your name, I will report you for identity theft. This is criminal freaking fraud. It's criminal fraud. It's a federal offense to steal someone's identity. It's, and then to do it to your own kid. It's just trash. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, listen, I don't care if her little feelings are hurt or not. You guys need to go hurt her feelings soon. Because there's a child's life at stake here. Her financial life. This kid could spend the next decade in Francisco. Hey, Carol, how are you?
I'm fine, Dave. Thank you for taking my call. I've been listening to you for a couple of years.
Thank you. Can you speak directly into your phone? You're a little fuzzy. Carol.
The oldest is financially set.
Carol, can you speak directly into your phone? You're a little fuzzy.
Okay, is that better?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh, okay. We have 3 grown sons. The oldest is financially set. Our youngest is financially underwater, but he came to us, and rather than bailing him out, we bought him Financial Peace University.
Okay.
Our main concern is our middle son, who has our 3 grandchildren. He's 40. His finances come from donations from, support from people, friends, and relatives, and that type of thing. This last summer, we gave them $14,000 and that amount because they could get that without having to pay any taxes on it. as they were going to a training session across country. Then in
I'm sorry, he lives
October,
off of donations?
off of financial support from friends and relatives and that type of thing, yes.
For what reason? Why does he not have an income?
He does have an income through that.
From donations from his relatives?
From friends and relatives around the country, yes.
Yeah. Why? Is he in ministry or something?
Yes, he's in ministry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he has a support group for supporting the ministry that he is in.
Correct.
I got
Correct.
you. And he has 3 kids. All right, I got you.
He has 3 children. Okay, so last summer we gave them $14,000 to go cross country and to, do some financial things that they needed. Well, then in October they came to us saying that they needed they were going to have to rent another house, and they needed money to get out of the contract that they were in and to buy a new refrigerator and stove in this new place. And
Okay, your phone is breaking up again. You're going to have to speak directly into it, darling.
Okay. What part didn't you hear?
I heard it all, but it's just getting hard to hear. So keep speaking straight into it.
So, come to find out, I found out that they bought season passes to Disneyland, and that my daughter-in-law went to Cancun in an all-inclusive trip. But yet in October, then they came to us and saying they needed these finances and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not up for that. Mm-hmm. We also did put them through Financial Peace University. They told us that they had finance help available to them through their company. Mm-hmm. So
I'm sorry, their company.
Well, through their ministry.
Oh, okay.
Ministry.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Through their ministry. So, they are going to be getting quite a lump sum when we die. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But until then, do we keep financing and enabling them to live without their means?
No.
No.
No, they're using the ministry as an excuse to be irresponsible.
That's my feeling.
No, it's what you just described.
Right.
When I can't pay my rent and I have to go to my mother-in-law for rent after I went to a trip to Cancun, that's kind of a problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah. So, no, I think... do you live in the same area that they're in?
They live in Southern California. We live in Northern California.
Okay. Will you be with them in person anytime soon?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I think maybe that you and your husband get on the phone with the 2 of them, and here's what it sounds like if I'm you guys. Okay? You can do whatever you want, but you're asking me, so this is what I would do. If this was my kid, I would just say, look, we've given you money for years. We love you. We love our grandkids. We feel like we are giving a drunk a drink. We feel like we're enablers because you continue to misbehave with money and come to us as your backstop every time. We don't mind helping you, but we don't feel like we're helping you anymore. We feel like we're harming you because we're financing your irresponsibility, thereby encouraging it. And we don't want to do that anymore because we love you too much. We want what God wants for you, and that is a life of abundance. And you're not living a life of abundance. You're living a life of financial stress because you're disorganized and you have your priorities out of whack. Now, you can be mad at us. We don't want you to be mad at us. We love you. We love the grandkids, and we want to help you. But we're not going to just willy-nilly give you money anymore. You're going to go through Financial Peace University. We're going to pay for it, or we're not going to give you any more money. And we need to let you know that, and that is an act of love on our part, not an act of vengeance, not an act of anger. We love you, and we don't want to cause you to continue to be irresponsible, and giving you money and financing your irresponsibility is causing that. And we've come to realize we've brought you harm, and we don't want to harm you. We love you too much.
Okay. When they came to us in October wanting more money for this move and everything, I said, well, what happened to the $14,000 that we gave you this summer? And he says, Mom, we are adults. We don't need to tell you what we're doing with our money.
That's right. You don't. And then you don't get my money.
Yeah.
People who will not take my advice and will not be accountable for the behaviors will not get money.
Okay.
So he's being an arrogant, entitled person.
Yeah. Okay, well, that supports my feeling. My husband says, well, what about Grace, Carol? And
it's
I
not,
said,
it's not,
well,
it's